I'm Jack Vinoy. I'm an artist based out of Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in Florida, but I've been in Tennessee about 10 years now. And yeah, I do sort of indie alternative kind of R&B stuff.
Nice. And of all the big things, your first big album is out now, literally 24 hours ago. How are you feeling
hmm
with it out?
I'm honestly, I feel like a weight is off my shoulders because I have a lot of friends that have been like, hey, that's been done a year. Why is that not out yet? So it's nice to finally be like, hey, it's out. And, I have one less thing that they can give me a hard time about.
So why did
But
it
yeah,
take
very
you a
excited.
year? I was saying, why did it take you a year to release?
Um, Honestly, a few reasons. The main one was we ran into some hiccups with like uh, post-processing stuff, mixing and mastering, and so it just took a little bit longer. But honestly, I'm really feeling like it was the right time. It worked out the right way.
I know, and you came out with pretty much like the best we can to release something, as this is like we're coming towards the middle of summer kind of vibes going
hmm
on with this album. It kind of just makes you feel like you're just out in the sun, just relaxing and just enjoying life.
hmm
Um, I really am kind of curious as to why you call the album Relay.
Yeah, Relay kind of became like a central mantra for me, just about community. I had been in Nashville probably 5 or so years. I wasn't feeling like I had found, where I was supposed to be. And in the last couple years, like post COVID, I don't know, I just put myself out there a little bit more and started to find I felt like I found the place that I belong. And I started to meet the people that, I can tell, like you have that feeling of being around the people that you're supposed to be around. And you're like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be in this moment. And I feel like the last couple of years has just been like that for me. And so for me, Relay is this like kind of positive reminder of like, it's a group effort. It's a team, everything's a team process in life. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to look at everything like that. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like it was something that I picked up literally from like a thrift store t-shirt. It was like, it was like a 5K shirt and it was just like the something relay. And I was like, that's cool. And I bought the shirt and I wore it for like a couple months and I was like, that has something there. And so yeah, I don't know. I've had that album concept or album title for I don't know, at least a couple years now. So it feels good to like finally be able to share that. And it's written down, like I literally have it like written on my laptop and like, written around the room places in different, formats. So it's just been like a little reminder for me for a long time now.
I love that the inspiration kind of came from a thrift store find. Has any of your songs kind of came out of of a weird location?
Uh, yeah, I think a lot of them, I have a weird, or at least what I think is a weird writing style where I feel like I won't write for like 6 months and then all of a sudden I'll have like just a list of notes in my phone of just like little thoughts here and there, like things that made me happy, things that made me sad, whatever. And so a lot of stuff just all of a sudden comes together from like, what is probably looking like a little rant in an iPhone note. Um, but yeah, a lot of the songs, I think probably like 4 or 5 of the songs on the album are like that, where it was just over a short period of time, I would just write frantically little ideas, and then when I heard the track, or like made the track, I was like, oh, this is the words that were supposed to be there. I just got the words before the beat existed, or something like that.
That's so cool that you can kind of like just have that moment and just spew out what it goes through your head
Mhm.
for that moment, and then just be able to go, oh, wow, the shit talking that I was talking about earlier fits really well in this.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a song on my album called Jesus Wept, and it's basically like a compilation of all the like bullshit complaining that I was doing in my notes, like work sucks, I hate my job, and that sort of stuff translates perfectly into a song that's like boo hoo, like that sucks. We don't like nobody cares, but it sucks, but nobody cares. Um, yeah.
So I want to go back to what you said earlier with when we were discussing about Relay. You mentioned
Hmm.
about being a collaborative group effort. This
Hmm.
album has one, two, three, four, five collaborative, five other artists joining with
Yeah,
you on this.
yeah.
I'm curious to know why you chose to go with that route of having a bunch of people join you on this
Hmm.
adventure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I think there's five featured artists on the album, but then there's I think about 30 different people that had a hand in some creative process for the music for the whole project. And I felt like that was the best way to like honor the sort of community mentality that I'm trying to, that I'm trying to like be encouraging of. Um, I found that like when I didn't feel like I was in the right place, I did everything by myself, and it was very, reclusive as like a creative process. And then when I started going to more, like big studio sessions, and there'd be like 15 people there, that was where I was like, oh, this is, I felt more alive there. And so I tried to keep, that spirit in a lot of the songs. So I think of the 15 songs, there's maybe one song that I did by myself, and didn't have any other, additions from other people outside of mixing and mastering. But pretty much every other song has like input, creative input from like at least a handful of other people. And a lot of the people that worked on it, I think 26 or 27 of the 29 or 30 people that worked on the album are also Nashville based. So it feels like this big communal effort. So in my mind, I'm like, it is my album under my name, but it's like, to me, it's just like, I feel like I got to organize like the coolest group project, uh, yeah. So I don't know. It's very exciting for me because I felt like I got a chance to like spotlight some of my friends in the process.
That's so cool. It kind of just feels like not say like a family barbecue party, but it feels like a family barbecue party.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that that was kind of what I wanted for. Yeah, I wanted to feel that way. There's a song called Village on the album that's like pretty much that exact vibe. I'm like I'm saving a seat for you at the table kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what, speaking of Village, that this is the main focus of this release single out. I know I just said that so weirdly. Um
That's all right.
so with Village coming out, I'm curious as to why uh that song is the second from the last song, as opposed to
Mhm.
having it a little higher up on the list. It's such a great song.
Um, I Truthfully, I think I just put it later in the album. I spent a long time working on the sequencing. And the mastering engineer that I worked with, Duncan Ferguson, is just fantastic at what he does and was suggesting all these ideas of like how to transition from song to song in a seamless way. Because that's I'm a total like album listener for the most part.
Ooh, okay.
When I listen to stuff, I'm like I want to listen to 14 songs or whatever from the same artist in a row. And so I was really thinking about sequencing a lot. And when I sort of laid out the stories in the songs, I felt like that was where Village was supposed to be. But it still felt like it could stand on its own, I guess, even being that late in the track list. Just because I don't know, I played that, I've been playing that in shows for about a year and a half now. And I feel like that's the one where people are always like, hey, what was that second to last song or third to last song you played today? And I'm like, oh, I wish it was out. Sorry, like I would love to send it to you, but it's not recorded fully yet or whatever. So I don't know. Uh, I felt like I had a reason that that could be later in the album because it feels like a thing to build to, I guess.
And you've been used to playing that song later on in your set, so it kind of just felt
Hmm.
natural in that way of having it there.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, it just felt like I don't know. That was like one of my favorite moments of like any of the shows I've played so far. Was playing that song, and I think it was at a show in December, and people just like started doing the lighters and cell phone lights thing, back and forth across the crowd. And I was like, okay, it sucks that I have to sing right now because all I want to do is like just sit on the floor and cry and like, just embrace like how sweet this moment is. Because I don't know, I'm just like a very emotional guy, and I just feel the emotions I feel kind of thing. And so when I saw that, I have like a little video from somebody in the back of the crowd of that night, and I'm like, I don't know, it's a nice thing to be able to like look at when I'm like feeling a little bit self-conscious or whatever. I'm like, I've got this, I don't know, this moment that I was like, this felt so special. So I don't know. I'm really proud of that song. It came together in a really strange way, and I felt like that was the one that said the most about like the concept of community for me. So yeah, it felt like to me, it didn't feel like I had to rush to put it at the front. Um, and it's
Okay.
a little bit optimistic to be like, oh yeah, like yeah, listen to the 14 of the 15 songs on my album to get to that one. But I hope people will.
Honestly, I spent the last couple days listening to it from, beginning to end, and Hearing Village was to me one of the standouts, along with Vagabond. That was probably my
Oh yeah.
favorite out of all of them so far.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Um, I am curious as to, because like you said, you have this huge family helping you with this
Mhm.
album. I'm curious to know in terms of like what was um, I would say the funniest moment that would happen
Mhm.
during the studio sessions, and
Mhm.
what was the moment that you were like, "Ooh, maybe we shouldn't put this in there."
Okay, I think I'll start at the funniest because that's a little easier. I have this video. I don't know how or why this came about, but the session that I had for recording Baton Pass. Um, so that has features from my friends Ron Obasi, Chuck Indigo, and Dime State Don, all three are like amazing Tennessee, like Nashville, Tennessee artists. And I've been able to play some shows with a few of them, and it's I don't know, they're just good people. Everybody that worked on my album, I think, is a good person. They're friends of mine. But with that song, we were like trying to get in the zone to like write the verses and stuff, and Chuck got in kind of like a drill sergeant mode and was like coaching people through like doing push-ups to get hyped up while the beat was playing. And so I have a video of like him and Ron Abassi, and I think Jordan XX was there too. And he's just like counting, random numbers like to encourage people to do push-ups. Like, all right, do 50, do 100, do whatever. And to me, I don't know, there's a lot of little moments like that where I'm like, you know, I'm glad that I have these little like videos for memories of that kind of moment because it's just like a very fleeting thing. Uh, in the moment, it's very quick, but I'm like, those are the things that I remember, like that, or just like, being deliriously tired at like 2 or 3 in the morning at a studio and just being like, is this like, are we doing something that's smart with this, or are we doing something that's like we haven't slept in, 16 or 20 hours and it's starting to show? But yeah, those to me, those are like the funniest kind of moments.
I am also kind of curious. You've mentioned with the one music video. Are you planning on doing any other kind of music videos in the future for this album?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
probably. I have like a rough, script for one for Brink. I'm hoping to do that like in the next month or so. But I think I have four videos for yeah, I think I have four videos for songs on the album. I have Rotate was the last one that I put up on YouTube, but I've got one for Rotate, one for Lemon and Honey, Everest Heights, and one for Vagabond too. So I don't know. I started getting into that like video world like 2 years ago, doing like a lot of production assistant work. And so the music video stuff has been fun because I get to like, actually operate a camera or be like, oh, what if, I get to make like, directing choices and stuff. When I'm at work, they're like, oh, you can mop that floor there. And I'm like, thank you for this opportunity. I'm really honored that you would hand me a mop. But yeah, it's exciting. I love doing video stuff. I feel like I pick up a new hobby like every couple months and they somehow always funnel back to like something to do with music. Like I started teaching myself how to screen print like a year and a half ago. And so I'm like printing my own merch. And like I've been sewing a lot recently. And that's also turning into merch. And like the video stuff's been fun because I'm like, oh, I would love to learn how to like use, Adobe After Effects. And then, and now I get to like, make the fun little graphics and stuff. So
Ooh, so
yeah.
what's the oddest hobby you discovered?
Um, I feel like one that I just recently stumbled upon was like making quilts. Um,
Oh,
yeah, like I've been sewing like, probably, a couple days a week for like a year and a few months now. And I had somebody mentioned that they were like one of my friends was just about to have a baby. And in my head, the first thing that I thought of was like, oh, I could like maybe make a quilt for your baby. And then I did one, and then like a week later, another friend found out about it, and they were like, "Oh, my sister's having her baby in September. Like, can you make that quilt, for her baby?" And so I may have like stumbled upon like some sort of, like Etsy income situation.
Side hustle over here.
But it's fun. I don't know. I just like sewing stuff, and there's this really cool like almost like I don't know, it's like an art supply store in Nashville called Turnip Green. And basically they just like take donations of stuff that's gonna get trashed, and they are like they sort of sort it into like, hey, here's what art projects you could do with this material. And so I'll go in there and pick up like, a lot of like upholstery fabric and stuff, and just get to decide like, okay, I'm gonna make like this was probably supposed to be like, for an outdoor umbrella, but I'm gonna like try to make a pair of pants out of it. And it's fun. It feels like it's eco-friendly, so it feels like I'm doing something positive. I don't know if I'm the one to decide that, but I'm like I'm saving the planet, right? But anyway, yeah, I think the sewing thing is like the most niche because I find myself like when I do go to like talk to people about it, the people that I'm connecting with are like my grandmother's like an incredible seamstress. And so I'll just like call her. I'll be like, "Hey, I had a question on like how to, what's the methodology here?" And like I don't know, it's been a fun thing to like connect with my grandmother through that too.
I don't know. That's actually kind of cool. I have a shop like that in
Hmm.
Ypsilanti called Scraps,
Hmm.
which
Yeah, that's cool.
has, you can donate whatever. I
Yeah.
only go in there for primarily for random things. Uh,
Mhm.
I started getting back into like crocheting.
That's like literally I just scheduled a craft night with some friends, and I'm like I'm gonna learn how to crochet
Yeah.
in the next week so like we can all crochet together.
Perfect.
Yeah, it just seems like it'd be so therapeutic as like a as an activity. I don't know, it seems fun. So I'm like that's my next one on the list. I don't have like a paper list of like, okay, this is the next hobby I'm gonna go to, but like that in my head I'm like it's gonna be crocheting next.
Yeah. Well, good luck on the crocheting and
Thank you.
I literally have a book over here off to the side that says,
Uh-huh.
make the perfect granny squares. And I'm over here still trying to figure out like what they mean by, oh my gosh, I have actually even have the notes. What they mean by an HDC and a TR.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what do these initials mean? It's fun.
Yeah.
Super
I'm
fun.
so excited to learn what that means. I'm probably gonna like as soon as I close Zoom here, I'm probably gonna just like, start reading about, crocheting techniques. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to email you if I have any questions.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you have my DMs.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm at the part where I have a couple little conversation
Uh-huh.
cards to kind of help potential fans get to know you on a fun new
Mhm.
level. We'll start with like this one here. What's a poor decision you have made in the last 24 hours?
Um, I don't know. I think I just only make good choices. Is that a no, that's a bad answer. I do wanna play
It's a
along.
good cop out answer.
Yeah. I forgot. You know what? I forgot to eat dinner yesterday. That was definitely a mistake. I had some friends over, and it was like 11 o'clock, and I didn't want to cook anything. Like by the time I realized I hadn't had dinner, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to sleep. So, um, that's probably it because I woke up really hungry today. So I'd say that's a
All
solid like
right,
B minus mistake. I don't know.
I'll accept that answer.
Uh,
Here, um, I discovered Blink before it was cool. What is the
oh,
most hipster
okay.
thing you can think of?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, and this is kind of it's so funny. So pretty much all the music I found for like 10 years was because my dad is like, you know, the most hipster guy ever. He was like on the blogs and stuff, 20 years ago, like finding bands, 6 years before they would like hit it big.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think like the most the most like iconic of those, I feel like, was for me was Local Natives, which is like this big blue poster up
Yeah.
there. I yeah, my dad has been like a serious like NPR All Songs Considered listener for like for maybe as long as they've done it. And he showed me that in like probably 2010 when they had their first album. And so
Okay.
I don't know, I was definitely a little bit ahead of the curve on that, but I was still like a couple years behind my dad. So I'm like the second most hipster music listener in my family, which is always fun. Because I'll try to show my dad something and he'll be like, "Yeah, that's old. I'm onto something new now." But like, glad you found it.
I'd say I'm like, was he part of the like Tumblr world side?
No, I
That's where
he
I
was like,
found my
yeah,
in underground stuff wise.
yeah. That's where I was finding stuff like 10 years ago. But he was like on I don't know. They're all like no longer in existence, but all these like blog websites that would just be like here are the newest music from like, some random city. And it would be like, I remember he showed me this Icelandic band a couple years, like, I don't know, this is actually, it's probably like 2009, but he was like, oh, I'm really into this band from like, Iceland. And, you know, I don't know, he would just always be a few years ahead of the curve because then like, NPR a couple years later would be like, oh, check out this cool band. And he's like, that's old. That song's 3 years old. I knew that one. So yeah, usually I just like absorb whatever he's listening to, and I'm like a couple years later than him.
Love that. No, it's so funny to come across like the sudden interest in a group and you're just like over here being
Hmm.
like, yeah, I already
Yeah,
have their album. Do you want to
yeah,
listen to it?
yeah, like that. Yeah, the my CD's already too scratched because I played it 100 times, but like you can borrow it. It might play. Yeah,
Yeah, because like right
uh,
now, honestly, when listening to this album, it gives me such like, still woozy, day glow kind of vibes. And,
yeah,
those guys blow up so quickly. And I feel like you just need like that one moment and
yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
easy.
I just need I need like I think I need like Anthony Fantano to like tell people that my album's bad. So that's what I'm hoping. Like fingers crossed. I
Yes.
need to get like roasted on the internet, and then yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Unfortunately, I can't roast you. I'm horrible at that. I need a couple drinks in me, and this aviation gin's not going to handle what I have. Yeah. Here, let's do like, what is the easiest word you can't spell correctly?
Um, that just brought back like an immediate memory. I was really like enthusiastic about spelling bees when I was in elementary school. Like I was like,
Ooh.
I'm gonna not, and I wasn't like good at them. I just thought I was. But in my head, I was like, I'm gonna be on that like televised spelling bee. And I remember I misspelled the word because in a spelling bee, and I was like, oh wait, that's lights on my career as a spelling bee champion. Um, yeah, I think that's probably I don't know. That one's just etched into my memory as like a word that I misspelled, one time in a critical moment. And I think that's got to be it.
I love that. You get like the deer in the headlights moment of just realizing,
Hmm.
oh shit, I can't spell this
Yeah,
word.
yeah. Well, and you know what? It's all coming. This is just like it's just such a visceral memory for me because it's just all coming back now. But I remember I sat down and because it was like we were in the front of the classroom in like I don't know what grade, but uh, and then I sat down at my desk and I was like, I cannot believe I misspelled that. And then I looked to like check the clock on the wall behind me. And I realized that where I was standing, I was facing the word because printed on the wall. And so I was like, oh, not only did I spell it wrong, but I totally could have just read it right there and been right. And I didn't. So yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
that brought back a rough memory from my childhood, misspelling the word because. Um,
Well, welcome to
yeah.
therapy. That'll be $100 co-pay right now. Um, before we continue further.
Yeah, it's at the end of the, I think, yeah, the 50-minute countdown. They're like, all right, well, we're reaching the end of the therapy session for the day. And
Yes.
it's like, it's 49. It's not 50. We've got a minute left. Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of that, we'll wrap it up with this one. If I wasn't afraid, I would blank.
Gosh, I think I don't know. I wanted to be an astronaut as a kid. So I think I would be like I would have like tried to pursue that better, but I just was immediately ruled out of that because I started getting nauseous in the car. And so I was like, yeah, going 30 miles an hour, getting like car sick. I don't think going 30,000 miles an hour, um, in a spaceship, I just feel like it wouldn't work. But I think if I was more brave, I would have like, I would have tried that or like tried to pursue that better.
That's kind of a cool idea that you wait, cross on. Let me rephrase that. Um, do you still feel car sick nowadays, or do you still like?
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty like I'm good. If I'm driving, I'm great. I don't feel car sick, but if I'm in the back seat and I like look at my phone for like a half second, like if I go to like respond to a text, um yeah, the next 30 minutes in the car, I'm just like, okay, we may need to pull over like at a moment's notice. Um yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I like I've I think my sisters can read in the car, and like I've known plenty of friends that like will bring books on road trips and stuff. And I'm like, I have to be staring at the horizon the entire time, or otherwise it's not a fun trip for anybody.
Ooh, so like a big huge tour for you is going to be a little bit of a
Mhm.
challenge, wouldn't it?
I think I'll just take like what they have like the seasickness medication, so I'm sure they have something for like, I get nauseous in the car. Like that's what I'm hoping.
Have you
That's
seen?
my expectation of science. I'm
I
like we should
see.
just make a thing for that.
I'm curious. Have you seen those goggles? The sea motion
No,
goggles? Oh
no,
my
I don't think
gosh.
so.
Here, a moment. Now I feel like I have to go. Wait a minute. Uh, they look like that.
Oh, that's like
Oh,
they look like the New Year's Eve glasses, you know?
yeah. So there's
Like
liquid on the bottom of these. So as you're driving, it will help kind of keep you focused and see that horizon
okay.
line. And there's
Yeah.
four of them. So there's like, one on each side of your face and then both in front of you.
Wow. I didn't know about that, but I feel like I don't know, I feel like that's my next pair of glasses. Like I'm gonna get rid of these and I'm gonna get some glasses with little blue water in there.
I don't even know
And
how much. Dude, they're like $7.
all right, for $7, I will 100% get a pair of those just to see. That
Sure.
that's that's worth at least $7 in my experience. Or in my I don't know. And if it helps at all, it'll be totally worth $7.
I love that I can just influence you to buy something, and I'm over here being like, all right, now I need to influence everybody else here who's watching
Yeah,
this to buy this album.
yes, please buy the album. Do you have like an Amazon affiliate link that I can buy that
No,
pair of goggles through?
no, I don't.
Yeah, use the code Taylor for 5% off your what are they called?
Hashtag
Uh
magazine,
yeah. Oh my God.
But
It'd be
oh,
funny.
this is a great interview. Oh my goodness. So where can we be able to find you?
Yeah, I'm on like any online platform. Just Jack Vinoy, my name. I think Facebook it's Jack Vinoy because I was like the second person to reserve that URL somehow. But yeah, and then I don't know, I'm at every coffee shop in Nashville, Tennessee.